Good morning and welcome to the craft room. I'm Ellie Barnes. We're going to have a look at a new style of card today. It's called Shadow Block. It's something that's been very popular recently, and I thought I'd show you how easy it is to do. You just need to be able to cut little squares and stick them together. Anyhow, before we get going, let's make sure we are going live in the right spot. Nothing worse than going into my personal page when I should be in the business page. So let's get down to the desk, have a look at what we're going to do and get started. Now, to do this card, I have discovered that I need to make it a little bit bigger than the standard card. There's our desk. Oh, look, I've even got my details here to help anyone who doesn't know me. How's that? Oh, look, perfect. I wanted to show you this paper. This is the sheet of paper I'm going to use. It is the most beautiful paper. It's called Scenic, and I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see it. There's a luster on this. And it's a whole packet of sunsets over the ocean. Here's the top one. That's in the paper still. But even through the paper you can see it. I've got to show you this one. Look, let's have a quick look at some of them. Look at this one. Glimmer all the way through the water. It's beautiful. Haven't played with this one, but I think this one will be fun. So, isn't that gorgeous? Stamping Up really do amaze me sometimes with what they come up with. That one, that's the one we're using. There's this one. Again. And this one. Now, I ummed and ahed about which one I'd use because they're all so beautiful, but I ended up choosing the one I've got in front of you. And I thought, well, the colours I'm going to need in this is Balmy Blue and Night of Navy. Could have chosen other colours, but that's the colours I've selected. So we're going to start with bringing a piece of each of those over and bringing our cutting tool. Now, for those that normally watch me, you might notice, and I will just quickly show you, this is the new grid paper Stamping Up has brought out, and it fits perfectly over our glass mat. So where I've been having these shiny spots, they're gone with this. But if I need to work on the glass, I can. So I love the fact that I can put a sheet of paper there and make it easier, but still work on the glass mat if I need it. The first thing I need to do is come up with a card, the picture that's going to be on the card front. And I worked out, and I did a bit of fiddling. I'm sure there's people that have already created this and worked it out, but this is what I worked out. I needed a design that was going to be 12 centimetres by 9 centimetres. So I'm going to turn this over, and I want this sun to be sort of over towards the side. So I'm going to cut it, I'll cut about that much off, and we'll have a look what we've got. And then I need 9 centimetres, and that gives me my sun to the side. Now I need it to be 12 centimetres, so we'll cut the bit of blue off the top. We might end up cutting a bit more. Let's have a look. We might just cut a bit of that white. I might cut another ½ centimetre. I'm just trimming down to what I think looks nice, and the 12 centimetres. So now I have a little picture that is 9 centimetres by 12 centimetres. These bits, this bit, we might use this bit on the inside of the card, or we could use that one. These little bits will just pop aside. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to cut it. So I'm going to cut it this way at 3 centimetres. Yes, my picture is getting chopped up. So I'm just going over here to the 3 centimetre mark. 1, 2, 3. And this top one will be 3. And then she says, I'm going to line it up this way. Could do them individually. Now, got to keep them in order or it won't look right. And I've already messed that up, haven't I? That's better. So we've got them back at all at the 3 centimetre mark. You could do it individually. I hope I had that at 3. Yes, I did. Now these I'm going to put over here on the side in order. And I'll tell you, this is a great tip to keep them in order, because I got mine out of order yesterday when I was having a little practice, and it took me ages to work out which way the water went and the sky. So we'll line this lot up. And it's all at 3 centimetres. And we're going to cut through that as well. So these are going next to them. When I first did this, I was thinking, oh, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do this. This looks a bit of a mess, but it actually works out quite well. Now, I need to also have, there's 12 pieces there. I need 12 pieces of 3 centimetre cardstock in my navy. So I'll just cut a piece off like that. And we'll cut these at 3 centimetres. And I'm just pushing it along to the 3 centimetre mark, which is there. Now, I need a second one of these, but I've already cut them. So we're not going to be here for hours with me cutting. This is the last square. So across the sheet of cardstock, that's 21 centimetres, so doing 3 centimetres, you get 7. So I now have 14. Now I'll put that to the side. The next step is we need to build these shadows. Now I tried a few different methods and I've come up with glue dots. And you can use glue dots that are left over from a kit, or if you've got glue dots at home. You can use any glue, but this was the less messy, easiest to work, I found. Now, the glue dots, this time, it seems to move around on this lot for me, are on this side. So what I'm going to do is these squares on the top left corner, I've got 2 stuck together, I'm putting 1 glue dot and I'm just putting them aside. I'll put them over this side so we're going to have room. So I'm just going to do 12 of them, and of course then we'll put these ones on. But this was my easiest way to do it. And I found I didn't get covered in glue. Things didn't slip and move because I tried the liquid glue and it was a disaster. I ended up with more mess than you could imagine. Now, this will just take a minute or two. Once we get this, oh, come on. Once we get this together, this card comes together very, very quickly. And anyone can do it. We're not talking about a difficult card here. It is really quite easy. If you can cut squares and make straight lines, you're on. And even my practice card, I didn't make that many straight lines. They were a bit crooked, but no one noticed. Well, at least they didn't tell me they noticed, so I hope they didn't. I might have to. I'm noticing this moving around on my mat, glass mat. I'm going to put a little glue dot there. Stuck to my finger. Let's get it there. And a little glue dot up here. That way my paper won't move. Now, I'm just going to tear that bit off, get rid of it, so we can start again. These two are our spares in case I need it, in case I muck up. What we're going to do is take our first one. I'm going to put a glue dot. Now, this is when I do have to get it in the right corner. This is going to sit here, so I need a glue dot underneath in this corner. So easiest way for me to remember is to pick it up, turn it over. That's the spot. So I can keep it upright and put it in that corner. Now, rather than put it back and try and work it out later, I'm now going to put the two together. Now, I tried using a full quarter of a centimetre and it was just too big. So once you've got your first one eyeballed and fairly straight, you can use your grit paper to get it really straight. You just need to match up that size on all of them. And believe me, you can eyeball it. You don't have to be perfect because no one's going to pick it up or notice. It just works. So we're just going to keep doing this with all our pieces. We get another glue dot. I missed one. We'll use that one. And as I said, keep being aware that you keep putting it in the right position, because if you get one upside down, it does make it look a bit weird. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, really. Did it stay on? Yes. We'll get this next one. And it's worth just taking a little bit of time to make sure they're straight. If they're not perfect, don't stress. They'll be. I've found no one really notices once it's all together. Oh, there's one down. Oh, missed a few. Go down and get this one. Another glue dot. Oops. I love this whole suite. It comes with some great stamps and dies. And I'm actually going to use a die and a stamp in this process today, or in this card, just to step it up a little bit and make it a little bit different. So There we go, another one just about done. It's quite therapeutic actually. Might be a bit boring to watch, but we're nearly there. We're on just about on our last row. And as I said, I really found these glue dots the best because I found they slipped around with the wet glue until they were dry. So you ended up with, I ended up with pieces that were crooked, that come on off. All sorts of things. But with this, and you do have a little leeway with these. Oh, what's happened here? Did I not cut that right? Or have I got that in the wrong position? Perhaps I haven't gone over far enough. That looks a bit better. Oh, Bella's been on the computer early this morning making a shopping list. Not a grocery one for all the things she'd like for her bedroom. And lucky last. Then we can get on with the next step. And as you can see, we've sort of got a bit of an image now. Put it down wrong. That's the beauty of glue dots. We had some leeway. You can sort of see where it's headed. So I'm going to take some blue cardstock, and I worked out roughly we need to be 2 centimetres bigger than the original picture, both at the top and the bottom. So we'll give that a try and see if we've got it right. So it was 12 centimetres that way. So we need a 14 centimetre card piece. See if we get it right. See if I get it right. And 10 centimetres, 11 centimetres this way. And yes, that's going to be bigger than a normal card size. And I'll show you how we're going to get around all that. So let's see if we can do this. We'll put them all on and see if this is going to work. We just have to make, oh, maybe I was wrong with my measurements this way. Maybe I want a 14.5. Let's have a look. I am going to do 14.5 because I don't think that's long enough. And I think this might be it. All right, so let's do 14.5. Actually, I'll have to get another piece of cardstock, won't I? We'll do it 14.5. And 11. I know 11 was right that way because I had to make my card bigger. So, well, let's try this again. Yeah, that's going to give us enough room to fit everything in the right place. So, and I've just moved everything. Silly Billy. I know that goes there, and that goes there, that goes there, that goes there. Does that go there? No, it can't go that way. I moved these and I don't know where I moved them from. That looks like it might go there. That doesn't look right, does it? Oh, hang on. That might go there and that might go there. That looks better. So this is where I brought the glue in. And I just put a little bit on the back of each square. And then I tried to line everything up as I went. You don't need a lot of glue, you just need to... Now that needs to come over a bit. You're trying to... Don't move. Once you get the first 3 down, it gives you your set pattern for across the card and up the card. Or for the first 4. So I've got room to go further apart. Like so. And now this one will give us the height gap this way. And now everything just has to follow suit. It's easier when you're looking straight down at it. That's going to be my excuse, but I think I'm getting there. Coming along. This is the hardest thing for this card. Well, this is how, when I say hardest, this is how hard it gets. Cutting squares and sticking them together. And then sticking them on a sheet of paper. I mean, really, we've been doing that since kinder, haven't we? So it's something we all can do. This is a card that really is, it's just a matter of patience. I think that one's up too high. Maybe that one could go up. And there we have it. Wow. Now, to make that look even more, have even more impact, we're going to have a card, a navy card. And doesn't that really look effective? So, I realised that this isn't going to fit on a normal card. So, I need to bring back in my trimmer. Now, this is the sheet where we cut. Normally there would be 2 lots cut off the bottom of this sheet, so be prepared for that when you're using one sheet. Now, I did work it out. That's 11, and I want the card front to be 11.5. So 2 11.5s is 23. And you see that still gives you, you would have that left over. You still have room to do another 3 lots of squares that I had done previously. And this side, I'll turn that in, was 14, so I'm going to do 15, but I'm going to be a bit generous. I'm just going to go over a bit more, since we've got the space. And then, like I normally do, I'm just going to fold my card like so. And there we have my card front. Now, for inside the card, we have this piece. Is this the right piece? I cut a new piece. No, that's the shorter piece. This is the longer piece. Actually, it's going to be shorter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it, that's a centimetre under. I'm going to make it a centimetre under this side. So it's going to be 10.5 because it's 11.5. So my inside of my card, I'm doing in light blue, which is great for writing on. And there, like so. I'm going to take this piece that was left over. Actually, this piece is probably wide enough. Yeah, that's 2.5 centimetres. That's perfect. We need this piece to be the same length. What have we got? We've got 14. So let's cut this one at 14, which just cuts that bit of blue off the top. We'll pop that out of the road again. Let's glue this on here. And then we'll glue that into the inside of the card. And then we're going to glue this onto the top. Right. Now, because there's a lot of bits that I've glued in different ways, and you can actually see a bit of glue sneaking out there. Well, I can. I'll just get a wipe and wipe that. I'm going to put a block on it, the big block, just to let it sit for a bit and all settle down. And while that's going on, I'm going to take some of this blue paper, and I think I had a bit left over. Yes, I did. I have a bit of cardstock left over from previous, and this is 2 centimetres wide, which I'm going to use, and I'm going to cut this one. Look, I did try it at 1 and I felt it was a bit small, so I'm going to do 1 1/4 centimetres. It's sort of, it's this line here on the board, which is, I don't know, is that a 1/4 of an inch or half an inch? Half an inch, I think. Not good with inches. And I'm going to then bring in my stamp mat, and I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll just grab the stamp mat from the stamp set. I'll bring that in. There's lots of words here I could have used. I could turn this card into an anniversary, a retirement, just a congratulations. I could have even used something bigger, but I wanted to keep it fairly small. So I'm using congratulations. I'm just going to stamp it in Night of Navy. I'm not going to put any words on the inside of the card because I like to keep my cards fairly blank on the inside unless I know I'm using them straight away for a specific purpose. And then this is just, if you find it gets a bit fluffy, I just run my finger along it sometimes, my fingernail, and that just pushes it down. Just means I need another new blade in my cutter. And I'm just going to cut it at the angle. I don't want it too fancy because the card's got enough going on. I'm then going to place it on here. And I'm going to shadow box it on this as well. So I want it, actually I could have done it less because I didn't. I'll do what I did. No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to change it. I'm going to cut another piece. I could cut that down, couldn't I? But it's very fiddly when you're doing little bits. I'm going to cut a piece at 1.5. Now you've got your lines in the middle here as well, so you can line it up. And then we've got 1.5. Let's have a look at that. Get rid of that stamp pad too before the ink dries up. So this is just Night of Navy I'm using. And yeah, no, that's not even quite right, but I can make it work. We can make that work. And I'm going to, what I'm going to do straight away is put it on dimensionals, a couple of dimensionals behind it, and then onto the blue, and then we can muck around with it and get it exactly where we want and trim it. Don't need those. Stamp mat out of the road. We're going to put this on, so we want a shadow about that much all the way around, to matching in with the shadows on this one. But we don't want a shadow at this end, so I'm cutting it off. So this, again, we've got the shadow matches here. It's at the bottom and on the right, and no shadow on the top or the left. So we'll take that off. Now, what a lot of people have been doing when they make these cards is they just pop their image on or their words on and it's done. I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to add something more. So I actually pulled out the dies that match it, and on a scrap I ran this die through the scrap paper. Now I only want, that's how I did it, just that much, and I knew I wouldn't have the full circle, but I knew I didn't want that. So now I've got this bit here. I'm actually going to cut around and I'm going to do it very finely up the side and cut it off. Now I've done a little bit of edging, but it's not going to be that noticeable, and a lot of it will be under the words. So let's just push out any of these bits that are left in. And what I'm trying to do is put a lighthouse on my picture. And I'm going to do it something like that. So what we can do is just on this side, because this will be covered, put a few dots of glue, and I'm going to work out exactly, I want these ends bits, if I use a ruler, these bits to line up. And I want my lighthouse straight, so I'm using the grid paper, and this to disappear under the sign. So we're looking at something like that. Says she and moves it again. Better if I put my head over the top. So that looks about right. So we'll just let that dry for a minute. And I've turned it over to put some dimensionals on the back. Wherever I put my dimensionals, I just buried them a minute ago. Bit of paper on the back there. Now up here I need things to be small, so I'm just going to use the side bits here. Just so that I can make sure my lighthouse sits up a bit. But might not even need that much. Might need half of one of these. And what I always do is I check, can I see any of my dimensionals? And it's great to put it on your hand because they appear white and you can see whether they're shining through, and they're not. There's a little bit there we'll just knock out. All right, let's get this on the card now. Come on. Work for me. And what this does, I find, it just gives a little bit more interest to your card. And getting it straight would be always a good thing, Ellie. So there we go. And then just to really brighten it up, we'll bring in some of our bling from the suite. I'm going to use some blue ones down here in the water. Just a couple down here. Now I could use orange or these paler ones. I'm going to use the paler ones up here. 1, 2. And just a little one at the lighthouse. So that's my card. But it doesn't fit in an envelope. We have a simple solution for that. We'll make one. I'm going to take a full-size sheet of two-tone cardstock. So it's the Barney Blue two-tone cardstock. I'm going to work on this side because I want the dark side on the outside. The first thing I'm going to do is score this at 7 centimetres all the way down. And then I'm going to fold it over. I'm going to put my card here. And then I have an idea of where I want to score this side. So I'm going to score this side. There. Now I'm going to fold this over. So I now have, oh, I didn't score that one straight, Ellie. Oh, dear me. better. Oh, I've folded it now. I will use that paper, don't worry. I'm going to do it again because it won't fold easy for me, and I want you to see this. So let's start again. We're going to score at 7. We're going to fold this over straight, and we're going to score this so we have enough room. Now, to do it, you need to take your card out. And then we're going to fold this piece over. Again, something's not quite right, but it's close enough. See, it doesn't have to be perfect, even though I've got it wrong again. Now, I've got such a flap over here, I'm going to cut some off. So I need it to flap over about that much. So I'm just going to put my finger there, measure it down here, and it looks like it's about 4 centimetres. And I'm going to cut that off. So now I have a card, a fold. Now I'm going to fold that better. Let's just, it does work better if it's straight. So now I have my fold that way. I'm then going to, and I've done it, what have I done wrong? Is that not straight either? I haven't really got this worked out, have I? Worked out perfectly yesterday when I was doing it. Anyhow, what I'm going to do next, says she, I'm going to score at 3 at the bottom, not with the cutting blade. 3 at the bottom, and then I'm going to turn it up here. Oh, I'm going to fold this up, put my card in, and work out where I need to score it at the top. So it needs to be about there. Let's make sure this is all booked in. Score that at the top, and then cut that. Put the score line at the 6 and cut it off. So the top flap is bigger than the bottom. So basically, she says, trying to get this to work, I've got it folding into the sides and then up and down. But I do need to do some cutting. We're going to cut these corners off, but not straight. This bottom one, I'm going to cut slightly. I'm starting about 1/2 centimetre above the score line, and I'm going to go to the corner just above the score line. And I'm going to cut that out. And I'm cutting on this side of the score line. This one I'm going to cut, and we've worked out that that's where it's got to go, the new score line. I'm cutting on this side of the score line. So this side of the score line, I'm starting at 1/2 centimetre above, and I'm going to cut to just above the score line. Now, what that gives me is when it folds in, there's a little bit of a lip, there's a little bit of a gap there. So when I fold that over, it's not in the road. Now the same at the top, I'm going to cut down both on the inside of the score line. Fairly straight, but just on the inside. But when I come to the side here, I'm going to go down. Now, you can go down as deep as you want. I'm going to go down 2 centimetres. So I'm just measuring that off my grid paper. And I'm going to cut on the angle up. And I'm going to do the same on this side. So I'm going to go down 2 centimetres and I'm going to cut up. Now what that gives me now is an envelope. To tidy it up and make it all nice and look more professional, we often round the corners. Now, you can use a circle punch and just put it in and clip it. I do have my old corner trimmer here. And if you haven't, as I said, you can use a circle punch. But I love this. I really think we should have more this type of punch more often, because it doesn't last, comes and goes, and if you're making envelopes, we do need it. Now, this bottom one, you've got to make sure you get it all the way in, and that means sometimes getting this bit of paper in, and see, it wasn't quite perfect, but no one's going to notice. And the same with this. So I've cut my 4 corners off. Now it's a matter of just gluing, and it's just a bit of glue on this side. And some glue down here. Come on, glue. Now up here, when we want to seal it, we haven't got the gum that you get on normal envelopes, but we do have tear and tape. So when I make these envelopes, I just put some tear and tape across where I want it to seal. And then it can sit like that until we're ready to use it. Our card fits in beautifully because we've measured it. And we have our own envelope. So, that's how, with some adjustments, how you can make an envelope if you need to make a card that's slightly bigger. And how you can dress up a shadow block card by putting just a little something on it. If it was a lovely flowery piece behind, you could put a big flower there. You could do the shadows on the other side so that it was on the left and the bottom. So there's many different things you can do and different papers you can use that will give you different looks. But that's my version, and along with my envelope. So hopefully now we're going to come around. There's my other version, and I did this in a hurry. And so they're not straight. So there you go. So hopefully that's inspired you to give it a go. It really is easy to make a shadow block card. It's just a matter of cutting out you need a dark colour behind your patterned paper, and then put it on a lighter colour And then I found by putting the darker around it, it actually gives you a little bit more of impact. So it's just easy, cut squares, stick them together, stick them on a piece of paper. We can all do that. All right, have a lovely day. I will be back next week. We will look at something else, but I just thought everyone's been doing these cards. I'll show you how it's done. Enjoy your week and keep warm if you're in Victoria or in southern Australia. Okay, where we are, one of the coldest places on earth, Ballarat. And anyhow, I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.